So in order to get a better understanding of how an attacker can basically take a web application that is vulnerable and pretty much do very malicious things onto the network. So for example, we have a HFS file server, HTTP file server, and this is version 2.3b. So if we do a quick search on this, on exactly what this is, if I'm an attacker and I want to get some information, I could do this in two ways. I can literally just check the version. So let's say I run an nmap scan and I find out that this is the file server they're using. So I'm just going to Google HTTP, actually HFS file server 2.3b. It looks like I don't have connection, so that's fine. I will use my own internet connection since this is a lab. So I will do HFS again. I'm doing it on my other screen. You just can't see it. I'll slide it over once I get the information that we need to perform this attack. So if we go on exploitdb.com, we see this is HTTP file server HFS 2.3a, 2.3b, and 2.3c. So all this remote code execution is applicable to all these. So basically that means that I'm able to execute code remotely via an HFS file server. And from what we can see, was found to be vulnerable to a remote command execution. Let's see, make sure I'm okay. Yep, so it was found to be vulnerable to a remote command execution and the file comment features because the application did not properly validate UFT8 broken byte representation. So basically, this is like nerd words, but that just basically means that you can execute code if it's not doing proper input validation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close out of here, and we're going to start from the beginning. So first off, this is HFS. This is build 290, and this is 2.3b. It's using port 8081. So I'm just going to close out of this. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically open up a browser, and I'm going to navigate to this website. So it's, like I said, it's using http://windows.8081. So that's what I'll type in here. So it's going to be http Windows:8081. And here we go. So I'm going to make this full screen. Now, basically, when we look at this website, obviously this is like the interface for the actual web server. So, so you see server information, and it's just as vulnerable as it gets. So you can see the version here. So if I'm an attacker and I'm able to get my hands on this, I can do some damage. So let's see what kind of damage I can do as an attacker. So I'm on the website now, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to execute some null value, some null bytes into the search field, like something that I always makes me better understand how to properly initiate attack is just to look at points of entry. So right now, there's only one point of entry that I can see. This is this field right here where I can actually input information. This is where I'm going to input the information. That's going to give me the bind shell. So this HFS vulnerability or exploit, if you want to call it, deals with improper parsing of search terms. So if I was to input some type of information here, obviously I'm going to get it's going to allow me to do things that I'm not supposed to do onto the web server, because right now I can pretty much interact with the server. Let's say I'm just an attacker on a different machine. I can basically interact with the web server if I wanted to. So what we'll do is we'll do a quick proof of concept. So this is going to be some no value, some no input right here. So it's going to be percent 00, and then I'm going to do a brackets, and I'm just going to do a .exe and then pipe that, and we're going to open up Notepad. Period. We'll finish it with that. So what this is no values, and we're telling it to open Notepad. And then these are our no values right here. This is our executable in Notepad. So everything looks good. So let's click go. And if we go back here, we now see that Notepad is opened. And this is basically what we would call proof of concept. So as an attacker, it wouldn't really be easy for me to know that this Notepad open, because obviously I wouldn't be on the machine, but just to make sure it's still applicable and still is important. So I'm going to close out of these. It opened up 4 of them, but so we're going to go back here, and now we can actually do something that's a little bit more dangerous. So what we're going to do is we're going to do that same no value. So we're going to do search and then percent 00, and we'll do that. But this time we're going to do that dot, and we're going to open up a PowerShell. So I'm going to type in CMD, pipe CMD, and then we're going to do /C and then net user. So I believe that's create new user. So it's going to be a net user. /C net user, and then test user and test password, and /add dot, and then we'll close it out with that. So basically, if we can go back here, it's kind of hard to see, but we did a another no value. Go back again. So we have our no value, and we have executable, and then command /C, and then net user. And this is the name of the user. It's going to be test user. And then we're going to do test password as the password, and then add. So we're adding it. So now, so first off, we're going to click go. And now we get that command that just ran. And now we're going to run. We're going to go to here, and we're going to do a local group administrators test user add. So yeah, so like I said, so we've basically created the test user account. So that's pretty cool. That's helpful. But now what we want to do is we want to basically add the same user to the local administrators group. So that's the next command we're going to enter in. So again, we have our no value, which is percent 00, and we're going to open up our curly brackets and .exe. We're going to pipe CMD /C, and then we'll do net local group administrators. We'll do test user, and we'll do a /add, and then we'll do a period, and then we'll close it out. So again, can I misspell administrator? Admin, yeah, I did. So again, we have our no. So I put that. So let's fix that. So we have our no value here. So it stops parsing at this point. And we have our .exe pipe CMD. We have /C. Then we have our net local group. And this is just specifying this is a local group, and the local group that we want to actually add the test user to is administrator. And as you might guess, that's pretty big, because what they can do now is the account is created. So now they have administrative access to this file server. They can remove whatever an attacker wants to do at this point is huge. So, and then we have it to the test user. This is the account, and we're adding it. So now we'll go, and that's it. So we've actually ran it. So as an attacker, he won't really be able to see if it worked or not. So what we can do is I'm going to open up PowerShell. Regular PowerShell. I don't need to open up ICE or anything like that. Just regular PowerShell. And so what the command I'm going to use, I'm going to do net users, test user, see if the test user, if that user was actually created. And as we can see, yes. And we can also check out the other information. And this pretty much confirms that the bind shell was successfully created, and we were successfully able to get admin access to this this HFS server. So if we go here, we can see that the username is test user. Obviously, this is not really important. So this was today, 7:30. But the most important thing to see is this is the groups that the user is a part of. He's part of administrators group. He's part of the users group. That's a big deal, because now, like I said earlier, as an administrator, we can see that we can obviously see that he can do a lot of other things. If this was a domain controller, he would basically have access to like Active Directory, where he could delete accounts, he could change passwords, he can get executives accounts information, and it would be a bad day for the company. So basically this lab went over how when you expose a vulnerability, the opportunities are endless. So and this all started from a vulnerability that allows an attacker to basically execute a bind shell. So we started here, and because it does not provide proper validation or parsing, because we entered a no value, we were able to then create an account and get administrator access.